Um, I thought it was very well done. Um, I think they did a lot of things right, and I think they're doing a cool thing, sort of changing small details about the story while still keeping the plot intact because it kind of keeps it fresh
Sure,
for people who have played the game. So
sure.
um, I liked it a lot, though. I thought it was really well made. And I think most people agree with that. There are some things where I'm like, eh. For example, I actually don't like most of the casting so far, but I think most of them did pretty well. Especially Tommy's actor. I think he did an insane
He's
job.
awesome.
But um, Pedro as Joel, I think he did overall pretty good.
Yeah,
I think,
I love him, so I'm more than okay with that.
yep, I think he did a decent job. Although I feel like I don't know, there's like something, just a little something off about it. But we'll see later episodes.
Okay.
It's so new still. The
Yeah.
one character I didn't like, funny enough, the most was I did not like Bella's portrayal of Ellie. Just really, I seemed a little forced to me. I'll be honest. But
Hmm.
other than just that one little pet peeve, I think the overall pacing is good. I think the characters all look good. Um, and again, they have a perfect recipe for success. They just have to stick to the game, and as long as they do that, I think the series is going to be extremely good going forward. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I loved it. A long episode, right? I did not expect it to be like, well, it was almost what, an hour and a half.
it was very
Um,
long. Yeah,
yeah, I did not expect it to be that long. I was thinking like, maybe an hour. But the I think you hit the nail on the head. The pacing was great. I think the fact that they kept it pretty close to the game. Um, they might have made some little tweaks here and there, obviously. Um, but the fact that they kept it pretty close to the game, which the, the first Last of Us game is an incredible game and one of my all-time favorites.
yeah,
And the reason why it's so good isn't even the actual gameplay. It is the story that makes it that damn good. Um, the gameplay isn't bad by any means, but the gameplay is pretty basic. It truly is that story that like really just draws you into it and makes you just go, "Wow, this is incredible." Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I loved it. Um, Casting wise, I think I'm actually pretty okay with it. I don't really have any complaints. Ellie, we'll see. We'll see. I see what you mean by it, like kind of feeling forced in some ways,
yeah. It just seems a little bit. Yeah, I
almost
don't
like
know
a
the word
little
for it.
too over the top.
Yeah, like she's trying too hard.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
do see
think
what
she
you
still
mean.
did a decent job, but just
Yes.
not. I think she's so far the weakest character in the show so far.
Yeah, which hopefully that doesn't continue, considering the fact
Yeah,
that
because
that's
obviously she's
one of the two main characters in the show. But yeah, I don't know, man. I do enjoy it. I think I even think she's still good, and I'll agree with you. I do think it's a little forced. But like all in all, still not bad. Um, I love Tommy. I think his character or the his actor is awesome. Even Joel, honestly, like I have no complaints there.
yeah.
Um, Tess, I'm a little iffy on. Um,
Really, I think I like Tess pretty much.
like I like her, but I like part of me is also like, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I can't get a can't figure it out. Can't get a vibe. But yeah, I mean, all in all, the storytelling, just everything about it, man. It's just absolutely incredible. Um, I loved, um, I loved the one shot, like the one shot camera scene that like they did of the back of the truck, just like the video game. Um, that was phenomenal. Um, and just very well done from a cinematography standpoint.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Especially the end of the episode with the just the rain and like the buildings.
yeah,
They represented that really really
yeah,
well. You can
yeah.
tell the show's very high budget.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Um, but yeah, man, I love that. I loved everything about it, honestly. I don't think I really truly have a single complaint.
Hmm.
I think everything about it from beginning to end was fantastic. Um, I think, I think as a whole, it's just only gonna get better. Um, as long as they continue to stick with the video game storyline, which, for people like us who have played the game multiple times and know the story and everything like that, like there's almost that slight concern with stuff like that, but again, with a story that's this rich and it's just that incredible, um, yeah, I just don't know. I don't know how you could potentially even try to change that up and expect it to be better. So
Yeah, it'd be very hard to f it up.
yeah,
The only thing I'm interested in, so in I remember the game like the back of my hand, basically. So
same.
slight spoilers. I'll go into details here, but so in the game, what the fuck was that guy's name that ripped off Tess? Forget his name.
Robert, right?
Robert. That was it.
Yeah,
Robert. In the game, you and Tess go and you kill all his guys right through
right.
combat,
Yeah,
and then you kill Robert. In the show, Marlene, the Fireflies,
yeah,
kill all of Robert's guys, and I just
right.
wonder why they chose that small change. And it's just making me wonder how they're going to story tell the combat scenes going forward. Because there's obviously a lot of them.
Yeah,
So I I'm very interested to see how they actually handle that stuff going forward, because if they just skip every single fight encounter, I feel like it might take away from like some of the, I guess, danger that the world is supposed to represent,
sure.
Um if they just skip everything like that. But so we'll see pacing. I think I saw it's nine. Is the show 9 or 10 episodes? I
I
think I
actually
saw
don't know.
somewhere where they had 9 episodes, which is kind
Yeah,
of weird,
I
but
honestly have no idea.
we'll see. I don't know if all will be an hour and a half long.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's you bring up a valid point. Like, and it kind of makes sense because, like, think about like I don't know about you, but there's been times where I've gone on YouTube and I've looked up like, you know, GTA story or like Red Dead story, God of War story, whatever, right? Like, I've gone up and gone on YouTube and I've looked up those, and obviously, there's some people who put together all the cinematics for the game and they cut out the combat, or they'll include the combat. And sometimes those combat scenes in some of those games can take a long time.
No doubt.
And The Last of Us is no different. Like a lot of times, there was you'd be doing something, you'd be there for like 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So like, I think I think you obviously to a degree there has to be that level of combat still in the show. Um, Because you're right. If you take that out, you're right. It takes away like part of that danger, right? As far as that environment, other than you realizing that okay, there's a bunch of infected people, and you have this government that has become, you know, totalitarian, and you got a rebellion that's trying to overthrow 'em. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like other than that, you have no fucking idea. Um, so like, and I think we'll see more of that, right? And like they showed a sneak peek at like the end of the episode, so
Mhm.
for upcoming episodes. And like in some of the sneak peeks, like they did, I think they kind of gave away some of that. Like you're gonna start seeing some more combat as we go forward. I think this
Yeah,
episode was just all about let me introduce you to these people if you don't know these people kind of deal. Um,
yeah,
and,
it makes
and
sense.
and try to just set up what the story is going to become. Because even if you think back to the game itself, that first, that I mean that's like the whole Robert thing. Like that is your first taste of combat in the game. So that entire experience is literally just almost like a tutorial in a way,
Mhm.
to sit there and get you introduced to the combat, understand how the combat works in the game, and things like that. So I think from a film perspective, like yeah, you can skip over that. It makes it a completely different dynamic and almost makes the whole Robert dying thing mean nothing. Which in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it does kind of mean nothing. But um, it was a weird segue. I think is what it did. I think it kind of created this weird transition into the Fireflies and you know
They just sort of instantly got introduced.
yeah. Um, even though they already knew each other, which you find that out in the game as well, obviously. But like
Yeah,
the transitioning of that is, I think, handled better in the video game than the show. Um, but as a whole, though, I mean, I loved it. I loved the way they did everything.
yep,
Um,
definitely the best live action of a video game I think so far.
yeah,
No
yeah, no,
doubt.
without question. And we're only an episode in. Like
Yeah,
that's what's crazy.
true.
But the scene, obviously, the scene in the beginning, where Joel's daughter gets shot. Um, man, that hit me in the feels all over again.
Yeah, they did that pretty well.
It got me
That
again,
was
dude.
another character I thought this Sarah's actor was really good.
Oh, she was phenomenal. Yeah, she was fantastic. Um, it's funny, man. I was watching it with the girlfriend, and she's like, "Man, I really like her." I'm like, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and yeah, and it's just man, it was funny because like watching the show and watching that moment
Mhm.
really made me sit there and I felt like I was reliving the first time I ever played the game. Um and it like the first time I ever played the game, I'll never forget it. Like I had no it was like when that game came out, it was around the time of like the whole zombie thing was becoming really big, right? And yeah, The Walking Dead was obviously getting really, really popular. Um and the whole just zombie genre as a whole was you were seeing quite a bit of it.
Yep.
And I was never into it. I never really cared for it. To me, it was always the same and like, oh, these people get infected and now it spreads everywhere. And now you got to try to overcome it. It was always the same routine, right?
Mhm.
Um, so I was never into it. It never interested me. And I was over at my brother's house and he had The Last of Us and he's like, dude, you got to play this game. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm not interested. He's like, I'm telling you, man, gotta play this game. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll play it for like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And obviously, as you remember, the first 10 minutes of the game is that opening, right? Is the whole
The intro that gets you just hooked as fuck. Yeah.
right. Like the outbreak happens and then, you know, Sarah getting shot and stuff. Like that's the first 10 minutes. And dude, when that happened, I sat there for 3 hours playing that game. I was like, holy shit, this game is so good.
Yep.
Because it just hooks you right away. Um,
Yeah, the story's so well done.
and that's what the show is doing so far too, is that it really does make you get invested into these characters all over again. Even if you have played through the game a million times, or again, if you're somebody that's new to the entire experience. Um,
Yep. I mean,
man,
there's even like
love it.
new things that the show did though too, like like when they finally go to the 20-year time skip and you
Yeah,
see the scene with the kid, like that
yeah,
wasn't in the game, you know? So
no, right,
obviously they're still gonna be keeping things fresh with like little
yeah,
added scenes.
Yeah.
which I'm all
Even
about.
even same. Even the stuff with the neighbors, right? Like none of that was in the game.
Oh yeah, very
Um,
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the game, he just like calls them the Coopers or whatever, which I'm assuming is, I guess, what they're meant to be. But you never show
right,
anything other than
right.
just him being shot. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
cool to sort of get that characterization of them as well.
yeah. Even the whole thing with the watch, even right? Like we don't see that in the game. I mean, there is like she gives the watch to him, saying that she fixed it.
Yeah,
But like even that, that aspect of it, like her going into town and getting the watch fixed, adds a little bit more of a sentimental value to it,
no doubt. Yeah.
and even to just the scene in general. So, um, it'll be nice to see all that. It'll be nice to see them kind of maybe draw out some of these experiences a little bit more.
Hmm.
And obviously some of that's to fill time, of course, but um, but again, just to add that little extra element of emotion to the various things that go down in the story.
Yep.
Um, yeah, man, it's been good so far. That entire episode was awesome. Whew, I can't wait. I can't wait for Sunday. It's gonna be good.
Yep.
Gonna
Every
be good.
Sunday's gonna be pretty good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, one of the things I wanted to ask you though, with it,
Hmm.
do you think that uh we'll see the second game get thrown into maybe not even this season, but like maybe into like a second season? Or do
I
they
think they'll.
potentially just go off and do their own thing?
I think they'll want to do the second game as a second season, but I think you're gonna have to switch some characters. Like I don't think. I'm sorry to say, I just don't think Bella can pull off an older Ellie. Um, she's 19
Yeah,
now. Fun fact.
yeah,
So if she's 19 now, like even if the show ends up being like 2 years out, I just don't think there's enough time to like um have her, I guess, grow up in a way
that's fair.
in order to pull off um just like the older, darker Ellie.
Sure.
But so maybe you might have to switch Ellie actresses, but outside of that, I think that that's definitely going to be what they want to do. But they could always change the story around too, somewhat. So who knows?
Yeah. No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point. Yeah, I think I part of me even wonders like because usually there's potentially like 9 or 10 episodes.
Mhm.
If each episode is as long as this first episode was, which it probably won't be, like because this was the first episode, that's probably why it was a little bit longer. I'm expecting probably about an hour runtime for each episode.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But even then, an hour, and think about where we are in relation to the story already, essentially an hour and a half into this story.
Yep.
Part of me does wonder if maybe they do potentially speed things up a little bit and they put the two games into this one season.
No, I don't think they'll do that.
You don't think so?
No, no way. The pacing's way too slow already. There's just no shot.
No. And I mean, I guess it's a fair point because, like, obviously, part of the beauty of The Last of Us is the environment itself. And as a filmmaker, obviously, you want to be able to have people experience that and take all that in. So you do kind of have to keep the pacing slow to make that happen. So I guess that's a fair point. That's a fair point. But
Yeah, no way. I can see them doing a part two though.
yeah, I could definitely see it. Could
This
definitely
is
see it.
like I think I saw this is like the second highest grossing like HBO premiere of all time outside of like House of the Dragon, which is kind of insane. So
That's actually nuts.
yeah,
That's actually kind of crazy.
people were very excited for this one.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's a nut. That's absolutely insane. Huh. Yeah. No, I mean again, as a whole, loved it. I'm excited for the next episode. I'm excited to keep watching every Sunday. Every Sunday. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
It will be fun. Should be good.
Also, it's also gonna be heartbreaking, obviously, as you go through.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they're gonna have the
I am very excited to see how they like do some of these scenes in live action.
same,
I think it'll be really cool to see.
same? Do you think do you think they're gonna have the bunny scene in it?
Oh, um, yeah, maybe.
Oh, God,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, maybe something
the
similar at least.
that is one of my favorite Twitch clips of all time.
It is really funny.
Oh, it's so good.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's so good, man. I love it. I love it. But yeah, again, man, I'm excited. Should be fun.
Yep, they
Should be
did a
fun.
really good job. Excited to see more,
Yeah.
and hopefully they don't fuck it up, dude.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. But I got a good feeling. I don't see that happening.